And we're going to record today's session so that we can put it out there for anyone who isn't able to join us today or wasn't able to join the previous session or wants to revisit any of the information included in today's session. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am Bev Brown. I am one of the Grant Review Committee co-chairs, and I have a partner in crime who may be able to join us today named Jill Whitty, and we lead the the oversight of the 5 grant review committees, and we'll get into more detail in our slides about how we're organized and how grants are assigned to committees and what our process is. But I am representing the entire grants review process and our committees. And then Beth Ryan has joined me as well. She is the chair of Impact 100 and our fearless leader for all things impact. So happy to have her join me today, and she may jump in for any clarifications and to help address any questions that you have. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen and get us started. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so hopefully everyone can see that. This is the second of 2 sessions, and like I said, we're recording just in case anyone hasn't been able to join us. Today, we're going to go over what Impact 100 is and how we operate, and then we'll get into the mechanics and the timeline of our grant process. And we will leave plenty of time for any questions that you might have. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to raise your hand. Hopefully Beth can help me keep an eye on those. Likewise, if you prefer to just go ahead and put it in the chat, you can do that and we will address them, either respond back to you in the chat or we will verbalize them.
Hey, Queenie.
Hello. So who is Impact 100? We are a nonprofit organization that was established in 2009. To date, we've given away over $2 million in grants, and that is all in due to our members. We have about 150 members currently, and we are able to collect donations from our members. Sorry. Let me stop sharing 1 second. What happened? Please bear with me. Okay, back on track. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I was trying to move so I could see the full slide. All right, so like I said, we currently have about 150 members. Our members donate on an annual basis, and then we collect those funds to provide transformational grants, and we do that on an annual basis. It's an entirely volunteer organization. Like I said, we started in 2009 and we have about 150 members annually on average. Our goal is to strengthen our community through significant collective financial investments in visionary and transformational nonprofit initiatives. And our mission is connecting women, changing lives, and transforming Richmond. So we strive to give a $100,000 grant every year, but every organization that applies gets additional exposure, whether you move forward with us as a semifinalist or ultimately as a finalist. Just by applying, you are getting your name, your organization, your initiative out in front of all of our members and guests at several of our events. And That way, we are able to support you not only directly through our Impact 100 organization, but also we have had members and guests show interest in those nonprofits that were not selected, and they have either given their time or treasure directly to those organizations above and beyond any Impact 100 involvement. So it's great exposure for your organization and, like I said, for your initiative. We also do various hands-on activities with our applicants throughout the year. So there'll be opportunities in the coming year where we might have what we're calling sip and serve nights, where we open it up to a few members to join your organization for a specific project and to learn more about your organization. So the financial impact is huge with the $100,000 grant, but we do have other opportunities that may not be directly financial that would benefit your organization. Okay, I keep saying transformational, and so we wanted to give a definition of what transformational philanthropy is. It's bold, visionary, and it's oriented toward lasting change. It's going to introduce a change to your organization or to the community at large. It may shift the mindset in meaningful ways, and it is responsive to current environment and willing to take risks. So I know some other grant applications are probably very straightforward, but we're looking for those new innovative ideas that by our name are going to make a significant impact. We're looking for potentially long-term impact, new or expanded programs, programmatic and capital improvements, and then we want demonstration of measurable goals and outcomes of your project. To give you a few examples of our past grantees, this is just a very small sampling. Most recently, our grant was awarded to the Fountain Fund, which provides low interest loans to formerly incarcerated individuals in the Richmond area. In 2018, our grant went to Connexus, and they provide mobile eye clinics in schools. And then 2014, our grant went to SOAR 365 for their Park 365, an adaptive facility in the north side of Richmond. So we have a wide gamut here. This is just to give you an idea and an example of some of the grants that we have done in the past. And then at the bottom, you see just a few of the logos of some of our other grantees. Moving forward to logistics, the eligibility criteria, applicants must meet all 5 of these criteria to move forward in our process. First of all, a nonprofit status 501c3, which we just became a 501c3 ourselves. We previously operated under the Community Foundation and then under the Grapevine structure. Your organization also needs to have been in operation for at least 36 months continuously and in good standing. An annual budget of $250K minimum, and then operating in the Richmond region. That includes the city of Richmond and the surrounding counties of Chesterfield, Goochland, Hanover, Henrico, and Powhatan. And then we also look for your sustainability plan. So how are you going to carry this forward beyond our 1-year grant if you are the recipient? We highlight 5 focus areas. Initially, our grants were divided amongst the grant review committees based on these focus areas, but we have moved away from that, and our grants are now, for the most part, randomly assigned to 5 committees, and we just name those committees color in the rainbow to remove any association with the focus areas, but we do ask in the application that you still tell us which one of these you most closely align with. That will help us with our statistics and our metrics and help our members understand where you believe you function the most. That would be arts and culture, education, environment and sustainability, family, or health. All right, moving into our grants timeline. Grant applications are going to open very soon on June 1st. Our portal will open. During this call today, I'll give you a preview of what the application looks like, and you will be able to access that on our Impact 100 website yourself if you want to start taking a look at that today, so you're prepared to get started next week. You'll have until July 17th to submit your grant, and then those grants will be reviewed to make sure, or applications to make sure that they meet the minimum criteria that we reviewed, and then will be divided amongst our 5 committees. Between July and September, our committees will be meeting to review your applications and ultimately narrow that down to site visits. Typically, we get somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 applications. So typically, each committee will have 10 or 11 applications to review. And they will narrow that down to 3 semifinalists to which they, 3 organizations to which they will do site visits. The site visits will happen between September 24th and October 16th. So if you want to start penciling that in, once the committees have determined who their site visit organizations are, they will be reaching out to schedule time that works best for your organization and the committees during that September 24th to October 16th window. Once the site visits have been conducted, the committees will each come back together and decide their finalist. Each committee will pick up to 1 finalist. So ideally, we will have 5 finalists at our big give. We want those final decisions by October the 22nd, because very quickly thereafter, we're going to invite those finalists to our big give prep workshop. So if you want to pencil in October 26th on your calendar as well, if you are selected as one of our finalists, we will have another Zoom meeting to walk you through the preparation of the materials necessary for our big give. Those materials will be due on October 30th. Should be a pretty low lift. You will partner with a representative from the committee to develop an executive summary. And then we ask you to provide up to 5 slides. Typically, that's just pictures of your organization in action. And then we will need the logo to use in social media and presentations. And then we need to know who you will be bringing. You can have up to 2 presenters and then up to 2 additional guests. So 4 people total can join us for the big give. And then the fun is on November 10th. November 10th is the big give, and you will be introduced by someone from your committee. And then you will have a couple of minutes to do your TED Talk and your pitch to the membership. We will have a recap from last year's recipient, and the Impact 100 members will vote real time. And then we will present this year's grant. So it's a very exciting evening. I get chills just talking about it. If you've never been, it's a fabulous, very exciting evening. One note here, throughout the process, we will not be able to give feedback directly to any of the applicants at any step in the process. And that's just to maintain fairness and be equitable to all of the applicants. Because again, we are a nonprofit organization, and based on our process, no one person is reviewing every application in great detail, so we can't give the feedback on your application. All right. That brings us to the end. Just wanted to say thank you all again for attending today. We're grateful for everything that you do in the Richmond community, and we can't wait to hear your stories. So I'm going
So,
to,
Bev, we do have a few questions.
okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Beth Ryan, Chair of Impact 100, and I thank you so much for being here. I apologize. I'm out of town, so I'm outside, and I apologize if you hear some car noise, but I'm in California. So let's see. We had a few questions. We had great questions. So first of all, somebody asked if there was a max budget, and the answer to that is no. You just have to have that minimum operating budget, and a maximum budget is no problem. We've had grants in the past that come to us that are several organizations working together for a project. So of course, in that case, usually they pick a main organization that they're applying for the grant under, who would be overseeing that project. So that's kind of how that works typically. So sometimes you'll see, you'll have organizations that would have more than one budget, but you're looking at the one that is mainly operating that project. Also, somebody asked about site visits. They said, what if your organization is virtual based, but meets monthly in person? Just keep in mind that the site visits will need to happen in that window of time that Bev explained. I think it was September, 24th to October 16th, something to that effect.
Yeah.
That's a really important window to keep in mind, because that is when the committees will need to do your site visit. So now the site visit can be, depending on what you do. I know some organizations function in a way that maybe committee members can't even be on site for some reason. So we can be creative with what that site visit looks like. Just know that we'll work with you. You just need to do it in that time frame, and we need to arrange a way for the committee members to have an opportunity to ask questions and clarify your grant application. Is your application, and you want to put your best foot forward on that application, but site visits really can illuminate a lot. So that's a really important part of that process for the committee. And then we have, can you speak to partnerships and application? Okay, so I already touched on that. Yes, you can have co-applicants. The best way is to I would list the partners and then kind of really explain the structure of how it's going to go. So if you have a main organization that is, going to run the project per se, just kind of really explain that in your application. And then if you're moving forward, then again, the committee will have an opportunity to ask you further questions. Let's see. We're early childhood education program. Do you suggest our focus to be family or education? So we typically do not suggest a focus. As Bev mentioned, we really want you to pick the focus. That informs the committee kind of where you see yourself. So that can inform them. And also, as Bev mentioned, for statistical purposes, it helps us over time to make sure that we're kind of reaching all groups, if that makes sense. So we still do have that categorization on there. So you choose. There is no preference or, no preference given to any one category over another. So you just determine kind of where you see yourself. Do you have specific guidelines regarding faith-based organizations? There is guidelines in our application process. If you look at that, we ourselves are not, specifically faith-based. So we have had, faith-based organizations apply for grants in the past, but just go ahead and look at the application and I'm trying to think of what the wording in there, Bev, do you have that? There,
I
just
am
look at the
pulling up the
wording in there.
application now.
I think one of our finalists last year actually was a faith-based organization. So the answer is you can apply, but please take a look at the specifics about that because there are specifics and I can't remember the terminology. If you have any questions in the future, please email me and I will look deeper into it for sure for you. Do in-kind services and donated land count as part of our budget?
Yes, that's your
I mean,
budget.
I would
That's how
just
you.
list that on there. Um, if those, I would say, if I'm not sure about the donated land part, that seems like something that, unless you get donated land like on an annual basis, I think I would explain that in there. In-kind services, if you get in-kind services that equal a total amount every year, I would just add that in there. And again, that's another great question that I can look a little deeper into. So our founder, Tali Baradka, and another one of our board members, they are the people that look at our grants and make sure that they follow all of those guidelines. So I can talk to them to get further clarification on that. I think what I would say about the in-kind services is to make sure that that would be something that clearly you would get every year. Because if that's not something that you get every year, then I don't know that we could count that as part of your budget. We support under-resourced entrepreneurs. I'm not sure which pillar we would fit into, if at all. Again, you know, I think you choose whatever. Can you pull up the categories, Bev? Do you have it pulled up?
I
Yeah,
can,
I
yeah.
see everyone's face, but
Let's see, 1 second.
under-resourced entrepreneurs. Yeah, that's interesting. We'll look at the categories when she gets them pulled up. If you're doing a partnership and application, are both works part of the site visit or just lead? So I would have whoever's involved in the project available. The site visits are they're definitely no longer than 2 hours. So you wouldn't have time for someone to go to multiple sites. I will say that. But what you could do is you can have whoever at your site visit that you feel is important to have there to answer questions, be visible. But you're only going to have the group meet you at one site visit. So I would pick the location that you think is the most applicable to that particular project. But yeah, you can have whoever you want there. Okay, so looking at our categories, education, health and wellness, environment, sustainability, arts and culture. That's a great question.
I guess it would
if
have
you
to do with
support
like, what are
under-resourced,
you?
I would say maybe education, or if they're entrepreneurs that could do anything under the sun. I don't know. I would say you put it in the category that you feel best fits. If you're supporting entrepreneurs and educating them on, starting a business and things like that, maybe it would be education. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think it would depend on what they are doing, like what their purpose is. But again, this isn't gonna exclude you for
Well, I
anything
think,
or really factor into our decision making.
yeah, I think she's saying they support entrepreneurs that could potentially be doing anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd say education, but again, you
You pick what's best.
that's okay. Let's see. Are there other grant opportunities for new organizations that have a lower budget? No, unfortunately, we don't do that. So at this time, we do a minimum of one $100,000 grant. You do have to be over $250,000. We encourage you to come and apply when you get there, and we have lots of excitement that you do. But at this time, we do not have grant opportunities for less than $250,000 annual budget. But we really appreciate all of you. The only thing I wanted to, note just from me personally is in the past, when we were under Community Foundation long ago, we used to give feedback on the grant process. We do not, as Bev mentioned, we're a 100% volunteer-led group. And we get 50 plus applications every year. And unfortunately, it's really just not possible for us to give feedback and we feel like good, appropriate feedback on the grant process if you don't move forward. I know that's hard to not get that feedback, but we really feel like, our job is to evaluate a grant to move forward. And honestly, they're all amazing projects. So our groups have a very hard job and we want the best for all of you. And believe me, if we could give all of you a grant, we would. So just know that it might be frustrating not to get the feedback, but it's just really hard for us to give the feedback and make sure that it's appropriate. We're not in every room during the discussions. And most of the time, the bottom line, it just comes down to there's so many great projects and they have to pick just one to put forward. So we want to thank you all. I want to thank you personally for everything you do in our community because we exist for you and we really appreciate you applying. And I just wish you all the best of luck.
Before we go, I'm going to share again and I'll show you how to navigate to the grant process on our website and where you can see the preview of the grant application. And then look for in social media next week. We will definitely be broadcasting when we open the application process. And then anyone that we have in our submittable tool who received the information about these sessions will also get an updated email with the link to apply. So this is our Impact 100 website. Here's a picture of our recipients last year and their committee representative. If you just go to the grants link on this page, you can read more about our grants, kind of recapping some of the stuff we talked about already. And then if you keep scrolling down, you'll see apply for a grant. Reminder, the applications are due July 17th. Recap of our high level calendar is here. And then if you keep scrolling on down, you can click on the PDF and open that up. And so, as Beth said, there's some additional background information in here for you. And a few years ago, we did a revamp of this application to try to make it as easy and streamlined for you all as possible. So should be pretty typical information that you submit for other grants in terms of just the background information about your organization and then describing what the project is and what the impact is.
Also, I just want to mention, we'll try to get the recording of this meeting on our website somewhere. So Tally will work on that when it becomes available. So that if you feel like you need to watch it again, feel free to do that. And again, just reach out to Impact 100 Richmond. That's an email that I check. We're happy to answer any questions.
Yep. I was just going to say, if you have any questions throughout this process, definitely reach out and we're happy to walk you through that. This is not an online. It is online through Submittable. Yep. Thanks, Beth. All right. Any parting questions? Great. Thank you all for your time. Have a fabulous weekend.
Thank you, everyone.